Hello and welcome back. We'll just have a quick run around the railway with a few items. I had thought I should put a few things away, but inevitably, instead of putting things away, I ended up running stuff around the railway and having a great time. So I picked up the iPhone and shot a few things handheld. So we'll just have a look at this Duchess here, making her way up the incline section. Absolutely effortless. And just see those lights glowing there on the front, couldn't we? They were very, very dim. There we go, we're going to cross the bright orange bridge and we'll get a view of that goods shed that I put in last week. I have stood a few things on it. We will have a look at it a little closer later on. Again, if you excuse the emergency vehicle in the background there. Now we'll see the couple of additions to the goods shed there. Got some lamps and so on, but we will have a quick glance at those later. Storming past the station. The valve gear looks terrific on there. The wheels seem to roll quite freely on the locomotive part of this, so they don't seem to lock up. Sometimes some of the models have a tendency to lock with these tender drives, but I seem to have had quite good luck with this one. Lovely free-running model, although the tender does have a little bit of a wobble on it, I have noticed. So storming back through there, back onto the inside line, back onto the elevated section there. A slightly different view. See if we can see those lamps on the front. I think the light levels in the room are perhaps just a little bright. And off she goes there. Into the distance again. Quite a short rake of coaches really. I do have a couple of those. Perhaps I could have put those on. We did have the mail coach on recently, but I wasn't having a lot of luck with the mail pickup system on this track. I think I'm going to revisit that at another point. And there we go. Back down onto level ground. You can see I've got the EM2 there in the station. So we will have a run round with that quite shortly as well. That is quite good fun. That's ex-Caledonian coaches there on the list of things to get put away along with the Princess. So perhaps we should be having a run with that too. She does have the chuff chuff sound. We've got the diesel rail car there getting a bit more fuel, and then back through that set of points. So all this time we've been watching this, she is just running by herself, completely untouched. She'll just keep running around and around, and it was just doing that, and I thought, well, I should really video a little bit of this. So it ended up being quite a nice run there. We can just glimpse those lights on the front end there. Quite an interesting feature that. There you can see that little wobble on the tender, can't you? Snaking away into the distance there. And then running back down the incline. I don't know whether we saw the lamps I'd put in there. I'll point them out next time we come around. But I have put some lamps in next to the refueling tanks there. And I had a little bit of a disaster with the 3D printer this week. I was going to print some new bases, but the feed tube for the filament has blocked again, so I'm just waiting for some replacements. Lovely shot, this. I know we've got the beautiful L1. With these, again, ex-Caledonian southern style coaches, are quite difficult to photograph. It's such a deep green. And now we've got the Duchess of Sutherland there in the station with the coaches now having a rest, and then we've got the Princess just moving off. So I'm getting a bit more adventurous with the control here. But I was left to my own devices for the evening. My wife is happily watching what we refer to as the dancing programme, the very, very popular programme here in the UK, strictly on a Saturday night. So she's watching the TV and I'm having a great time with the railway. I hadn't intended to film this footage, as I said earlier. And you can hear that chuff sound. Sorry, I can't quite speak there. In the distance there, it gets a little louder as she comes towards us. Storming over the diamond crossing. Yeah, so I think it's time to clear a few things away on the railway, then we'll be able to get a bit more out and also be able to move things around a bit more successfully from one line to another into one siding and another. We've got the class 25 waiting there. We'll have a go with that a little later as well. It is just such a lovely, simple thing, that chuff chuff sound. Must have been a great moment when they discovered they could fit that into some of the tenders. And we'll just slow that down there, and we'll just try and wait for the L1 to come back round into shot and see if we can get both trains running together. Right, and hear the L1 coming in from the left-hand side of shot there. So I've just got the L1 left running by itself, and I'm controlling the Princess. And we'll see if we can race alongside it now, get some proper express train speeds. Again, great big smiles here. I love it as the two trains separate there and go either side of the station. I think that's always quite a nice shot to see that. And then they'll all come back together. We hope as we come around the corner here, if I can get enough coal on board here. Look at that, charging away. Absolutely terrific, coming under the bridge as a pair like that. And then hopefully we'll get that split again there. And they make a lovely noise on the rails. They sound really solid. And around again. So not much of a stutter on the diamond crossing at this speed. And this model, the Princess does have the plated wheels. They're quite worn away. She's seen a lot of action, this particular model. And again, look at that. That's what it's all about. A good charge around the layout. It's all good fun. So we'll switch a few points. And we'll see if we can reposition the trains a little. So we'll just keep our eyes on this now as we come past the signal box up towards 1B. Slowing it down over the point work. And we'll see if we can get gently there into the station. Sorry, I'm not speaking clearly. I'm beginning to whisper. Have a lovely shot here as she comes alongside the EM2. Under the canopy there. So again, we'll change things around a little. And we'll see if we can get that EM2 into life. So we'll just keep an eye on the train in the station there. I know it's probably not anywhere near prototypical, having those bright red and cream coaches with a nice blue electric locomotive like this. Through the diamond crossing, barely a stutter. Through the curved point. Through 8R, onto the main line. And I've got quite a nice route set here as well. So she's going to cut right back through the station, through all this point work. She'll get a great view of the pantographs in action. And under the canopy. Through the points again, and you can see those pantographs just going up and down gently as the wire changes height very slightly. And it's all reused, this wire. It's many uses, so it's not perfectly flat. I suppose the pantograph just takes account of that. And there we've got that motor buggy in there. Not the smoothest of runners, but not such a bad one. And back through the station again. Slightly wider shot there, under that lovely footbridge. Tiny stutter there. So we've just got pickups off the pantograph and return to two wheels on one side of the locomotive. So it's not that much pickup. So not too bad though. So it does have more pickup than the Bobo Electric, I suppose. So it's just got the one pantograph on it, hasn't it? The one we've seen that run in the past. So back through the station. So I am considering taking the catenary out because I'm fully considering getting the 01 installed onto the railway just for a bit of fun. And I don't think I'm going to need the catenary for that. So I don't think it was advised that you use it with that, although I'm not quite sure why that's the case, but obviously you wouldn't really need the overhead to run separate locomotives on the same rails, but I think electrically I think it might be problematic as well. So let's see if we can get a gentle stop in the station here. Well, I think I've just rolled a little bit too far there. So I think we'll give that another go. So we'll get it to move off again. And we'll see if we can stop the EM2 in a slightly nicer position so we get a really pretty shot with it and the Princess there sitting in the station. So storming back across the Diamond Crossing there. Great. Plenty of power. Right back round through the point work, and let's see if we can get it stopped in a more photogenic position this time. And there we go. So here we are on the following day. Everything's pretty much as I switched it off last night. It was great fun. I hadn't really anticipated shooting any video last night, but it all sort of worked out and it all ended up being handheld. It sort of caught me by surprise a bit. So as we saw in the background, we had the goods shed, and I've got a couple of items standing on the platforms to go along with it, just to add a little interest. And we do have some of the old yard lamps. I had these on the last layout. They've got LEDs on there. And I think I mentioned that I was going to print some bases for the LED, not for the LEDs, for these lamps to stand them on the baseboard. I've got a couple over here by the fuel depot. Let's just turn this around because this is getting very heavy in my hand. So I've got a couple on here, and you can see this. They have this tendency to sort of droop forwards, and I had it in mind to 3D print a different style of base to try and get those to stand upright a little more convincingly. But as I say, I think I mentioned when I was talking through the other stuff that I shot last night that the 3D printer has had a slight fault, or a part has got jammed. There's a tube which feeds the filament down to the print head. I've replaced it a number of times before. I think they just get too hot and distort, and it's got jammed at the hot end. And I'm just waiting for another one of those to arrive, or another two of those, or I think it's about a meter's worth I've ordered, and I can get at least two out of a meter. So always handy to have a spare, I think. So once I get those, I'll be able to print a base, I think, which will be slightly more convincing and in keeping with the rest of the railway, I think. So possibly not very lifelike, but more toy-like to hold these bases and keep these lamps in a more upright position. I think these ones are all lit, although I've noticed this one seems to have a dodgy contact. It's probably in the base there. I don't know whether you can see. I've got a cable, so it's the cable just lies in there, and the metal mast, or upright post pushes down there, and that takes the return current. So sometimes they sort of switch themselves off, shall we say. So everything's pretty much as I left it last night, and I think what we'll do is we'll take this parcels train over to the goods shed. But firstly, I think we need to put this L1 with these green coaches into the long siding. So I think the best way of doing that, I think we've got to do a couple of things to the railway. So I think we're going to just close one for now, then we're going to leave 8R open, and I'm going to isolate the EM2 in the station. But it's a bit belt and braces because I've just isolated the whole line running to the station it's running on. And at the moment, the left side of the controller is set to run the overhead, so I'm going to put that in to track. This one at the moment is set for the inside line for the right-hand side of the controller, but I'm just going to turn that off. If we go down there, that gives me the turntable, so we'll leave that in the off position. And then we'll switch that, so that feeds the entire two circuits all in one go, so it now operates as sort of one big railway rather than two separate circuits. So to be honest, that's the way I use it most of the time. So I find that's the most fun that way around. So I think what we'll do is we'll open number 7. There we go. And then we'll take that L1 round just one more time, and we'll take it through that set of points. So let's give that a little power. If I'm turning the controller the correct way. We'll take that around. Lovely smooth run of this L1. Got the plated wheels. Just losing it behind the elevated section there. Let's see if we can go through the crossover there. There we go. So I'm just going to close number 7 now. We'll open 1Y. Now, I think we've got our pick of lines on the long sidings at the moment. Let's just see which one we're going to go into. So I think we're actually going to go for the middle one, the way the points are set. I think we'll just leave them like that. And one of these southern coaches, these Caledonian southern style coaches, has one of the bogies is very stiffly mounted on the rivet onto the base, and I have had some derailments from that, especially running back through the point. So let's see how we do with that. Usually they're mounted very loosely, which causes a wobble, but this one, somebody must have over-cranked the rivet in the factory, I think. So not looking too bad so far. Yeah, I think we've got away with that. I think we'll just stop that there. And let's switch up some points now. So, excuse me, turning around, trying to do that slowly so we don't go dizzy. So that closes off the long sidings. That closes off the main line, the approach to the station as well. And now we want to get the high mech. I think we said we'd take the high mech out to get the parcels trains. So I need 1R, so which is that one. Excuse the pause while I try and think through what I'm doing. And 3R, which is that one. And now I'm thinking that high mech will move out of the refueling area, so we'll give that a little power. Isn't it nice when it goes the way you think? Still, there's time for error yet. This is the one with the old Tri-ang style motor bogie in it rather than the Ringfield. So now we'll just switch 1R. And then we want 2B. So if I hold it up, I don't know whether we can see it all. And we want 1B. So ideally that's going to roll backwards now. Let's give that a little power. Don't suppose I needed to go back quite that far, but actually, no, I had to go just beyond 2B, the crossover there. So let's just switch that back. There we go, and then we should be able to roll forward, and we'll pick up this this parcels train. Let's give that some more power now. Yeah, there we go. I've forgotten a point I remembered just as it was coming up to 5B there. There we have it. As we were. Original plan. That doesn't look very convincing as a coupling. I think that's... There we go. I had to do that by hand. It's just... I think this one on the bogie here is just sitting a little high. It wasn't hooking over. So let's see if we can get a slightly lower shot. Actually, I remember why I've got that standing there. When I was talking about the platforms, would have been nice if they plugged into the edge of the goods shed. Perhaps if it had a double wall, maybe. I'm thinking overcomplicated here. But those would stand, they would butt up right up to the wall there, and then the platform edges could stand against those. But I've only got the one of these left at the moment as part of one of the station sets. So perhaps have a look out for some more of those. I don't know whether I've got that in focus there. I don't know what the catalogue number for that is. It's got an S number on the bottom there under that 50p sticker. I don't really want to peel that off. There we go. Let's leave that 50p sticker there. Let's see what the S number is there. So it's S. Is that 8396? So is that a parts number or a catalogue number? I don't think it's a catalogue number if it's got an S in it, but it's definitely a Hornby Railways item, it says on there. So we've got a number of these sitting under this station building here. They make it quite a, or they give flexibility to the station. So I'd forgotten all about those when I was putting that goods shed together. Now, we're getting sidetracked there. So let's pull the parcels train out of the station. So ideally we'll run straight onto the outside line now. So let's shut 1B, and if I open the point into the goods shed, and we'll just run right the way around the railway. So last week I was mentioning that I needed to clean up the points a little on on that spur into the goods shed. What it turned out to be is I'd got the platform a little close to the point, and the models were just clipping it on the way in, which was making it slow down. So I hadn't noticed I'd got that too close. So we'll just slow that down a bit now. So I do have the uncoupling ramp there, I forgot to mention. So I thought I had a handful more of those, but the ones I could find, they're in this sort of bag. It says £2, so I must have found those. There's 3 of them in the bag with the posts. And all but one of them, I think, the one that's in there, have damage. Yeah, so there is one, and the little spur that sits into the side there is not as long as it could be, so the corner of this one creeps up. Sorry, I'm leaving nothing happening in shot there, and I think this one's actually missing the little clips. There we go. So I think that's missing them on one side. I have to admit that when I bought these, I was in such a hurry to find these little posts. I was trying to get enough of them for the last layout. I was numbering all the points. I don't know whether you remember the old layout. I had all the points numbered so I could see them, because I could never remember which points were which. So it turns out that I just have the one of those. So I have had some experiments with this earlier in the week when I put that in, and I'm trying to decide which hand to use for this. So I'm going to roll that forwards, and let's see if we can get that to uncouple. So I was sort of hoping for those coaches to roll forwards into it and take the tension out, but they haven't. So let's go back a little. There we go. I think we've got that. There we go. Magic. So I know I had some electric ones of these. I adapted for the Super 4, so they had a solenoid that go up and down. I haven't really even thought about putting those in there. It's only a recent thought to put uncoupling ramps into the layout here. So I'll have to see if I can get some of the later Hornby ones. I think they will sort of work with this track. So let's isolate that. So ideally the Hymek will stay there. And now if I set the points so we can get the class 25, this keeps showing up in videos, doesn't it? So I need 1R, and we need 3R. So ideally that Hymek's not going to move. And the class 25 is going to roll out of the line. I've already uncoupled those wagons, so let's see if that's the case. There we have it. So let's back this one through. So we need to switch 1R again. And 2B and 1B. So let's take that around and see if we can grab the parcels train. So that seems to have come to a sudden stop there on the points. And I know why, because I've left them set incorrectly. So let's roll that back there. So I wonder whether I left those set incorrectly last time or not. No, I did close them. I've had trouble with these points in the last couple of weeks doing things that one part of the crossover keeps not firing. So let's there, both gone together, both the other way. Yeah, so that hasn't fired on the return. There. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So let's but whatever's going on, the class 25 doesn't want to move even now. So let's, are we all on? Let's give that a little more power now. Yep, we're springing into life there. Yeah, there's something not quite right about this. It's suddenly gone very unresponsive. So I'm just going to cut the video there, and I'm going to have a look at what's going on with that, because that was running lovely and smooth before. Let's just pinch that off there. So there we are, all back on the rails. Hopefully just a clean up, a little light cleaning is all that's been needed to get this back into action. So I had the wheels out of the dummy bogie as well, and the axles were a little bit black and grimy where they make contact with the metal part of the bogie block. So maybe that was what was causing the issue. So we'll go and see if we can collect the parcels train from the goods shed. Better slow that down a little bit. So let's have a peer over there and see if we've got that. So I think we have that. Looks quite convincing. A little hard to see behind the crane there. And let's give that a little power and get back out onto the main line. So we'll just run this back around. Now remembering I've got those points still open behind me there. So I'm going to take the opportunity just to stop in a second. There we have it. So let's just close the point with no number. There we go. And I think we'll just finish by running this around, but I think that's probably it for today. Thanks again for watching. It really is hugely appreciated. And I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a fiddle with the railway. So we've got that onto the inside now. There we go, and I'm going to seal that in there. So we've closed 2B and 1B, just in case I use the main line for anything else. And we'll just set that running. Just once around, I think. And as I already tried to say a couple of moments ago, thanks again. If you look back again next time, we'll have something else from the range to look at. Goodbye now.